Hi, this is Councillor Jenny Ellis again, and I'm here to present our third video in our series on the Cultural Precinct Master Plan. And as you can see here, this one is about the financial considerations of the plan. And particularly, we are focused on the art gallery and the building of a new art gallery in the future. So just for a little bit of history, the community facilities, such as art galleries, are held within the council's general fund. And this is our fund that is very low at the moment, and it's the reason why we're looking at a SRV, and I'm going to get onto that a little bit in the future. But looking at the history around the Cultural Precinct Master Plan, in 2021, Council resolved to provide funds and prepare a Cultural Precinct Master Plan and include plans for a regional art gallery. They also committed to building an art gallery within the next 5 years, to commence a building reserve by allocating $100,000 from water sales to support the design and construction phase. And later they also added another $100,000 from the Rose Garden plan for this whole project. And this is what has funded our Cultural Precinct Master Plan. They also decided to establish a committee to oversee the public fundraising, and the aim also was to identify a suitable site within the city to build the facility. In the 22-23 budget, Council included an estimate for the construction costs in the 10-year capital budget. So in looking towards the future, Council do a 10-year plan. And they were looking at this motion to build an art gallery, and they said, right, how are we going to afford this new art gallery? Well, we'll need to take a loan, because even if we get a grant, it's likely to be 50-50% contribution. So 50% for a grant and 50% from our council. So to do that, they decided that we probably would be looking at a special rate variation to service a loan for this. Now, this was, as it says, in 22-23. Since then, we've realised our general fund is very low, and we're going to have to bring in a special rate variation to bring us out of the red and into the black. And so this is a completely different issue. So this was in the 10-year plan, and it can change in the future. In fact, it probably will change in the future. I know that we as councillors are considering pulling this particular SRV out of the 10-year plan for the time being, save confusion. And really, at the moment, it's about tightening the belt and saving up money and working out other ways that we can increase our general fund so that we can then service a loan down the track. We will also be considering philanthropic funds as well in this whole project, but that's down the track. I've already talked about grants, really important for something like this. And fortunately, at the moment, and hopefully moving on into the future, there's quite a few grants around for precincts such as this. So for arts precincts and for community programs. So for us, it's really important that we are grant ready. And what that means is that we're pretty much ready to what they call shovel ready to build. So it means that we've got a lot of work to do before we even consider applying for a grant. Now, if you have a look here, grants generally require a co-contribution. This means council will need to put money towards the project, and it's usually a dollar for dollar contribution. So every dollar that we get from the grant, we have to contribute a dollar from our council funds. Now, grants are usually assessed in 2 stages. There's usually an expression of interest, and then if we get through that stage, then we're able to put in a full application. So here's an example that our Director of Financial Affairs, Stephen Safiotti, has put in this presentation so that we could just have a look at how it actually works. So there's a Growing Regions program which offers $600 million over 3 years in 2 rounds. So that's over the whole, this is federal, so over all of Australia. So for a stage 1 expression of interest, these are the sort of things that we would need to find out or give them. How advanced the program designs are, how far we've progressed the tender process, the extent to which our project fills an identified gap or community need. And that's really where our Cultural Precinct Master Plan is so important. The extent to which our project will contribute in achieving a wide range of community, socio-economic outcomes, and how does the project align with regional priorities. So the very first stage in this is having a Cultural Precinct Master Plan. If we did not do this plan, we have Buckleys of none to none chance of getting a grant of any sort. So this is certainly the first step. If shortlisted, we would then be invited to stage 2, and that's the full application. And these are the sort of things that we need. The extent to which your project meets the needs of the community. Again, this is what we have ascertained in our Cultural Precinct Master Plan, and with your comments that I hope that you will certainly respond to in looking at our plan. Contribution to economic opportunity and social and community inclusion, alignment with broader government and regional strategic priorities, capacity, capability and resources to deliver and sustain the project. Now, it's not only that we have to keep in mind the costs of building something, which usually we are given support by these grants, but we have to be able to sustain the project moving on into the future. So these are some things that we really need to look in at detail, is the staffing. So if we have a bigger building, we need increased staffing. So how can we make sure that they work together? If you saw our last video, that is why these 2 sites that we're looking at particularly are attractive, because they are combined with 2 areas of council that are already operating, being the tourism hub and the theatre. So that helps with our costs moving forward for staffing if they're all in the one spot. The other thing is project readiness, development approvals, authority of land and designs, move the head, and a full business case with funding sources, budgets, cost-benefit analysis and timelines. So this is the business case that we are yet to fund, but is a really important part of this process, and I'll talk about that on another slide. So the thing with grants is you don't get much time. So if you have a look here, assessment of EOI applications, panel assessment, approval. So basically there's a 3-month process that they go through to look at our level 1, so stage 1 application. And usually we are only given 3 to 6 months to actually put that grant together. So you really have to have most of your information ready and at hand. Then you only have another 3 months roughly before you actually hear that you've got the approval and you've got to start. So it's all very quick. It happens quick, and you usually have to finish it quickly. So there's no point getting the funding and then you still have to have your architectural plans and all your feasibility studies and all those sort of things. You can't do that after you get the grant. You have to be ready beforehand. So here's that ugly word that no one wants to look at. And I get it. Special rate variation. This process requires a significant amount of community consultation, and if resolved by council, will need to be approved by IPART. We know all this. The very important thing for you to understand is that the current SRV discussion is not related to this art gallery. As I explained, that was in our original 10-year budget plan. And at this point, because we've got into this situation for this year and we're needing it, this SRV for next year, we will probably be moving to remove that from our 10-year plan and look at other opportunities. But having the goal that one day we do hope to build this art gallery allows us to make decisions now in tightening the belt, making savings in different areas so that we will have that money in the future towards a grant and towards a new art gallery. Just like our own budgets at home, we might be going through a tough time, but that doesn't mean we can't plan for a holiday in a couple of years. We just go without things and save up for that in the future. Operating costs. Most community facilities operate at a deficit. That means our expenses are greater than our income. And this is why council takes them on, because a private business wouldn't. So a private business wouldn't have a 50-metre pool, for example, or create a theatre or a library in a city our size, because they would not be able to recoup a income from those facilities. And that's why council often take these things on. But that doesn't mean that we can't be smart when we do run these facilities. And this is, again, why if you look at our two designs that we've chosen, both of them have a cafe in the designs. And that is an opportunity to lease out to a business. So it's a revenue generator for the art gallery itself, as well as bringing people in to enjoy that space for longer. And who doesn't like sitting down for a coffee and then looking at some beautiful art? The advantage of the design at the top of our block also has a function centre, and the same thing, because we need function centres in our city. That is also an opportunity to lease that building, that part of the building out, and it can generate revenue. The same with having a black box theatre involved. Again, it's an extra space to hire out, and it meets a great need in our community. The overall business case is extremely important in this whole process. In addition to applying for a grant to assist with construction, council also needs to demonstrate the ongoing financial impact on the community. So, tourism is a really big thing for this whole area of the arts. People come and to look at art when they're holidaying, and studies show that those who are travelling, travelling for cultural reasons, spend more in a city than other travellers who are visiting friends, for example. The other thing is that these sort of facilities encourage people to live here or stay here, and that's really important, that our young people are not all leaving us to go to the city, but they want to stay here. And it's these sort of things. A thriving arts community is one of those things that will keep people here, or when people move for work, they'll stay here because of those cultural facilities. So what happens next? Well, in the immediate short-term time, we want to hear from you. So we want you to go to our website and have a look at the submissions tab and put your voice to this. Once we have received those comments or submissions, and you've got to the 29th of September to put those in, these will be reported to the ordinary meeting of council, and those submissions will be a part of that paper that is presented to council. Before that, the Cultural Precinct Master Plan Committee will review and provide their own comments as a part of that report and that business paper that will be presented probably sometime around November to council, and they will discuss it and they will make a decision, if appropriate, on that master plan. Now, looking at the art gallery specifically, this is the recommended implementation plan from the consultants. Now, in the short term, we want to establish a new committee, which will be a cultural advisory group. And that's, again, something that will need to be decided by council. And this group is not just for the art gallery, but it's suggested for all of our cultural facilities. Then we're going to be looking at making a decision on where we're going to build this art gallery. At this point, I don't think we've got enough information just with our Cultural Precinct Master Plan, and we are looking at ways that we can use the rest of our money that has been budgeted for this project to do some feasibility studies on the two sites so that we really make an educated decision on which site will be better for our town. And from then on, we will be looking at a design brief, a business case and feasibility study. We'll be looking at funding and then hopefully getting an architect and doing all those things right up to when we can get a grant to make it all happen. So realistically, we're looking at a minimum 3 to 5 years, and hopefully by 10 years we will have that beautiful new art gallery servicing our community. So finally, here is the website. Make sure that you have a voice on this whole project. If you have any questions, please go to our Facebook page too. We have a special Facebook group set up where you might even be watching this now, called the Cultural Master Plan Group. So we love to hear your thoughts, and we look forward to taking this journey with you moving into the future. Bye.